Oh my god, it didn't even finish the timer. What in the world was going on? I was over here looking at the timer on the other screen, and I'm like,
I think
we're
well, I was only saw it on my screen, but it definitely hit. I think it hit at least
okay, yeah,
one.
it did see. Yeah, I just saw it. Okay, my bad. All right, yo.
Off to a great start. I told you, just
Off
let
to
it
a
go.
great start to our
Just fire it
second
off,
episode of SGO 360, where it's all game. What is the tagline? I completely forgot the tagline. Is it all
I,
gaming all the time?
bro.
Uh
I'm pretty sure it's all gaming all the time.
there you go. So we're talking about not just sports games, but all type
All
of
gaming.
video games in all types of genres. And I really loved this show last time. It was our first time me and Kevin made our debut together, and it just went off smooth. Of course, he had some choice words about Bloodborne before we went on, and we're just gonna keep them there, all right? Because Bloodborne is almost perfect, and I said almost, and yeah, we're just gonna keep the Bloodborne slander to a very minimum.
I'm gonna say it again. It was not Bloodborne. It was the games that came after that. Said it
Right, it
again.
was the
All right.
games that
Think
influenced.
it's
Got
the
you,
games
got
that
you, got you.
influence, right? It gave a lot of people a pink slip to have bad animation and janky mechanics and call it a game. And I'm like, listen, that
Bloodborne ain't
ain't
gonna
cool.
save you.
That
Yeah.
is like that ain't cool. You can't ride the coattails forever with that one.
Yeah, yeah, totally. No, totally. I completely understand that. Let's start off with just how you doing, man? I was gonna like jump into a segment, but no, how are you doing, man?
Ah,
How you doing?
it's been a good couple of weeks actually. My days open up like I told you before. We got more time today if we need to go over. Yeah, schedule's been kind of open, just working as usual. I mean, honestly, when you've got stable work and you honestly got no student debt, life is pretty good.
Life is pretty good, yeah. True, true, true. Very
Life
much
gets
true.
pretty good.
I'm like I told you before, I got a lot going on. I am doing the EAFC 24 review. I'm doing a video that is coming out tomorrow on the Soul Dojo over Cyberpunk, and I have to move here soon. So there's just a lot going
Yeah.
on. But like you said, there's steady things going. I have a little bit, the smallest bit of student debt, but it's easy to pay off. So I'm one of the lucky few. Let's
You
jump
and me both.
into what have we been playing?
What
What you
have we
playing?
been playing? What are you playing? So last time we knew I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I have not
Possible
finished
game of
that.
the year that game is.
Possible game of the year. I'm probably going to say it is at least my game of the year.
Perfect. Yeah.
I will say that now. By default, Bethesda's in the arena because they had a launch this year, and it probably will get Game of the Year because they will be itching to do their Game of the Year edition of their games as usual.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall a time where Bethesda didn't get Game of the Year, so take that with what you will. Um, but honestly, I'm playing pretty much the big three right now. So it's Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, and Cyberpunk 2077.
That's so much.
It's a lot of game.
It's
Yeah,
a lot of games.
it's a lot of game.
It's a lot of different RPG systems and different styles and so many different characters, so much depth. That is just a lot of games. I don't know if my brain could. Oh my goodness, I had to completely drop Starfield to play Cyberpunk, jump back into Cyberpunk.
It's definitely I go certain like so I'll do like maybe 3 days of Baldur's Gate, switch over on the weekends. It's like all Starfield, right? And
Mhm.
then next couple days it's all 2077. So right now because update 2.0 came out, what I think it was the 22nd. So
Yeah.
I started a full new playthrough with 2.0 to kind of get the prologue out of the way and start getting stuff going. So by the time yesterday, Phantom Liberty dropped, I've already started my playthrough. So I'm going to be one of those guys who probably doesn't get to the DLC until another 100 something odd hours. I think all of my playthroughs of Cyberpunk have been 110 hours or so.
Wow.
Um,
It's been a
yeah,
lot. It's been a lot.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
only done 2 playthroughs, so that's a total of like 220. So this will be number 3. Um, and I gotta say, like, if you haven't, like, it's weird to say because like I haven't played the game for 200 hours. I know how it felt before 2.0 comes out, and I can't describe it. It's a different game, right? It's the same game, but it's absolutely not.
True. And you know what? You know what? I'm gonna say save those thoughts because we're gonna talk exactly. We're gonna talk a lot about 2.0 because I've been playing a lot of it. But Starfield, we didn't. Let's start off with Starfield because this was a game. It was just about to come out. It
Mhm.
came out. Everybody's talking about it. Like you said, it's possible game of the year right now. Bethesda's big, massive launch that they needed it to be a hit out of the park. And
Yeah.
what do you ultimately feel about this game?
Before it came out, a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's Fallout in space. It's Skyrim in space."
Yeah.
Starfield is Starfield. That's
Yeah.
probably the best way I can put it. It's a Bethesda game, so it'll feel that way when you're playing it. But unlike the previous games, right? If you look at the marketing for Starfield, it's less about the main plot line. Like when, say, for example, you look at 2011 when they dropped the teaser trailer for Skyrim, right? It was a teaser for the story mode, right? Dragons return. It's a big deal for Elder Scrolls fans, right? We're like, dragons have been seen before. Crazy. Everyone get excited, right? Starfield, they're like, it's a new universe. Go explore.
Yeah.
And that's really the overwhelming portion of the game. It's like, we know about Radiant quests would start with like the previous iteration, like Fallout and Skyrim, right? I had did about I think 4 or 5 Radiant quests in random planets of Starfield before I realized they were just Radiant quests because they felt like they were handcrafted. They were not. I was like, oh no, this is just the way the game plays.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a phenomenal iteration of the Bethesda formula, but it does stand on its own. There are some things that, yeah, you could critique. Sure, obviously, right? It's Bethesda and the creation kit. You can critique them all day, but it is a big launch. I think it did exceptionally well. I'm even wearing the collector's watch right now because I spent
Hey.
video games. um, but I mean, yeah, and simply put, like it is as big as they made it seem, and I honestly just enjoyed the crap out of it.
Really enjoying it, and I really do agree with what you're saying in terms of, I mean, you could do and be anything you want in the world. They don't shove the main question to your face.
Yeah.
My playthrough, I'm being a bit of a space pirate, so I'm with the Crimson Fleet. And it's not even just the fact that I can be a space pirate. All that, like, quests that are in that quest line, I can do anyway. Like,
Hmm.
anything can happen in those, and I beefed up my persuasion skill a lot.
Okay.
So I'm talking my way out of everything, but I can also shoot people square in the face. And like I get to choose like all the time, and the game just rolls with it continuously. And I love that the being able to choose constantly, player choice. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love it so much. It is very daunting, especially if you're not used to the Bethesda formula.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming, and that's what I
Hmm.
got when I first jumped into it. And I played multiple Bethesda games, and I still was very overwhelmed from it.
Same here. Absolutely
Yeah.
same here.
I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what to do. And then they throw, it's like, okay, yeah, you can do the main quest, or you can be a space pirate, or you can just be a traveler and start building all these little structures and things like that, outposts, things
Yeah.
like that. And it's like, oh my God,
I
when does
can
it all end?
I can say the same thing about it like I did Mass Effect 3, right? If you look at the Mass Effect franchise, 1 is your story, 2 is a story of you and your crew, 3 became a story of the
Right.
galaxy, right? Starfield in the same way understands scale. So whereas like I remember my first Bethesda game was Morrowind, right? That's a big game and there's no fast travel and the map markers, you just have to know how to read a map. Like it was like,
That's
hey, the game
wild.
starts and you're like, have fun and you just have to read and just
Yeah.
figure it out, right? And so to jump into Starfield, where we have things like fast travel, map markers, waypoints, all that new common modern game mechanics, right? And
Hmm.
still be like, there is just a lot happening. And at the same time, nothing at all. Like it's a large game because it's like I look at the star map and I go, geez, like all that stuff has randomly generated planets or whatever the case may be. Um, and like I'm not gonna lie, like despite some of the side quests are absolutely amazing. All the faction quests, gosh, they're amazing.
I'm
They're
in the
so
middle
well
of one.
written,
They're so good.
so good. And
So good.
I think unfortunately that does hurt the main quest line because the world doesn't give a crap about Constellation. Only Constellation gives a crap about Constellation.
That is so true.
You know what I mean? And so it's like that's so unfortunate because like with Skyrim, it kind of affected everything you did because dragons could appear anywhere. So it felt like
Hmm.
all the world was feeling the pressure of a dragon attack, right?
Hmm.
Fallout 4 was all factions were going to have to be involved in this war. Same with Fallout New Vegas, right? Every faction had to deal with the final battle at Hoover Dam, right? Starfield, and I haven't finished the main quest to be fair, so I'm not gonna be able to give spoilers on
Me,
that.
me
But
either. Yeah.
up to this point, it's like I did some stuff for Constellation. No one even knows I'm part of that group at
Yeah.
all. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares. I've got more recognition as a UC Vanguard captain than I ever have as like Starboy running out with powers. Like they're like, what is Constellation? Like,
I kind of noticed that as I was playing the game, and I'm like, all Constellation does is just poke their nose in everybody's fucking business all the damn time.
and no
Eh,
one has a good thing to say.
no,
Like,
nobody really has a good thing to say. A matter of fact, everybody's just like, "Oh, you're part of Constellation. Well, do you want to join the Vanguard instead?"
right? They're like that's cool and all, but do you want to do something for real with your life? Like,
Yeah. Do you want to join UC Security? Like, what do you like? What do you
yeah,
want to
you want to
do?
do something that actually matters about, I don't know, something that affects the universe and those around you, not joining
Exactly.
Constellation. Uh, But I
It's easy to get sucked into this game.
absolutely.
There's a lot going on. Uh, there is something you said in the beginning. I do think it's more. I don't know why people are saying it's Skyrim in space. It's not Skyrim in space. It doesn't feel. It doesn't even give me
Mm,
that type of feeling.
mm-mm.
I think it's more Fallout and Mass Effect than anything, and it gives me too much more comfort too. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost like the game is somewhat like comfort food. Like I know I never played the game, but I know what's coming. I know what to expect in terms of like Bethesda writing, in terms of
Yeah.
Bethesda quest structure.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a way the game isn't I don't want to come across as saying the game isn't unique because it is,
It is.
but I think that's the one drawback. I think it's too familiar for me in
Yeah,
some
it's
ways.
like it's a familiar unfamiliarity, which is obviously a contradiction, but the fact it's a foreign familiar feeling. Like if you've used to playing games you ever played before from a common developer, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're sitting at right now. And because you kind of like I said, like you hit the nail on the head. You kind of know what's coming when you're playing the quest line. Doesn't make them any less amazing.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them any less cool. But because you've played Bethesda games, you know it's a set piece. You know it's going to be, you know, this gripping thing. Now, I will say this, right? I will put this on the best thing on their list they've done so far, at least in my case, is they have made companions much better over pretty much all the previous games. Like, I don't care too much about certain people I meet. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Barrett. I could leave Barrett on the planet and be fine with that. I do not like that man.
And you
That
know what's funny? I don't know why people like him either because
I
he's an
can't
idiot
stand him. He
and
is like
his damn kid.
they try to make him seem like he's got an edge to him, and I get it, right? You
Yeah.
see him in combat and stuff like that, but I'm like, I don't care. Give me an opportunity. I will put him in the same box with Preston Garvey and call it a day. I can't deal with the man, but like Sarah, Andrej is my favorite, absolute
I love her.
freaking boss.
I
Like,
love her.
yeah, I met her. I was like, you meet her killing someone. I'm like, sold.
Yeah.
I was
Sold.
like, it
You
was like
know,
sold. I'm like absolutely sold. And her weird social behavior is absolutely
yeah.
hilarious. Like I can't get enough of. I'm like, yeah,
She
perfect
does
match.
have the most personality ever out of everybody, and it seems like she has things going on in her head. She's also a nice looking lady, so she follows me everywhere.
Absolutely,
She follows me everywhere. I'm like, yeah,
we're doing,
we're going.
we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a Rich Porter. Well, I'm
Liza
playing
P. We're
Liza
just talking
P.
about that off
It's
air, but
structural
yeah.
skill. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I've seen gameplay of it. It looks like a very Victorian Dark Souls fucking game, just like
I think it's
Bloodborne.
Belle Nouveau is that might be a font
There,
type. That might not be the error. It's something along those
it
lines,
sounded good. It sounded
right?
good.
Got too many thematic names running up here. It's something like that. Uh,
It sounded nice. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing the persuasion skill stuff. I'm like being like kind of the little gunslinger build. I'm like getting all the pistols that I want and things like that. I think the persuasion skill in it in the um what would you call it? Like the stealth skill. I think the stealth is very weak in this game too. Um it,
it
it's really
depends because
weird.
they've split it into two. You have stealth, which is just remaining undetected and being
Yeah.
a discreet character. Then you have concealment, which is like additional abilities on top of that. Because I play a concealment based sniper. Your character wouldn't see me coming. To that right now.
He's like
Um,
way
it's like
way in
you
the back.
wouldn't see me coming. Sniper, like usually I have a scoped weapon, so it's either like I usually swap between the what's it called? Ugh, those guns have weird names. But it's like the combat tech sniper and the combat tech battle rifle. Um, yes, see this person gets it. AJ Gaming here.
Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. Those freaking
That's Brandon.
companions. That is Brandon? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's Brandon.
I
Yeah.
don't know y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad. I don't know y'all YouTube's names. Like to be honest with you, bro, I don't know. Like I hit subscribe and then I don't go back. Like
it, it pops up on my screen. It's whatever.
but yeah,
I'm just like, why isn't there like a stealth kill kind of thing? Like you can't like it's hard to get to their back so you can stealth kill them.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
hard to do that.
personally, I think because it's not Skyrim. It doesn't have that mechanic, right?
Yeah.
It's probably closer to mechanic wise Fallout 4, but a graduated version of that. And so in Fallout 4, I don't even think there's stealth kills in that either. And so I think because they've just taken a different way, we didn't get that stuff. And for me, I don't use melee, so I didn't even know or not, right? Like I said, for me, it was a melee suppressor. long
Mhm.
range, and I'm like, if you get close enough to actually hit me, Andre just got my back. Like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
she can go invisible and stuff like that, so she got it.
exactly. Now I will say you brought up persuasion, and the one thing I liked about this one though is that with d- despite your skill in speechcraft or whatever, the mini game for persuading is actually pretty well thought out.
Mhm.
There are times where if you spend enough time getting extra information, those pop up as choices, which give you a bonus to actually persuading those characters. And I'm like,
Exactly, because if you listen to the conversation, you pick the right thing, like,
yep.
yeah,
Based on
you'll
like the
get through.
character's personality, you can actually
Yeah.
get through with like I know I passed my first like 5 or 6 without actually ever putting a point into persuasion
Mhm.
because there's like certain characters you watch how they act or whatever, and you just pick that decision, you'll have a percentage chance to actually get it. So I thought that was very neat. That kind of if you're spending points elsewhere, you can still have some persuasion skill. Obviously, the harder ones you still need points
There is
for.
one in, during the Crimson Fleet quest, and it just didn't make any sense, like, how I got her to pass over the keys for something. It was just I don't know if I just got really lucky on picking the most hardest thing, and they were just like I was just like, "Well, I need them," and she's like, "Oh, yeah, you can have them." Like, it was just so easy, like, it didn't make any sense, but I do agree with you. There is, especially in the main constellation quest, if it is, I mean, we're calling it a main quest. I don't even feel like it, but like the main
Yeah,
constellation quest, the times you have to do your persuasion and stuff like that, it makes a lot of sense. Where if you listen to the character, if you kind of know the
yeah,
character a little bit, find more information, yeah, it's easier to
yeah.
get through those those persuasion mini games. Um, how do you feel about combat overall in this game?
I enjoy it. There are some I can nitpick certain parts of it, like you said. Stealth is a bit different, but I think it's because I mean, you're walking around in a big old spacesuit. Like it's kind of hard to be quiet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's in a way where I'm not completely peeved about it. I think the way they went about it was try to push people away from doing the same thing we all do in Skyrim, which is just crouch and bow because you just kill everything one shot, right?
Yeah,
At some
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
And so if you want to do that, you make stuff a little bit harder. Now, I do think with that there should have been more opportunities to do stealth because they were giving different mechanics, right? Um, but there are some times where if you just look, you can actually see a grate or something you can actually open up and hop into and stuff your way through missions. I learned that the hard way in like some of the Ryujin Industries missions, right? It was like you get steam, like, yeah, there's a ventilation, dumbass. Like just go through the ventilation, you won't have that problem.
Right.
So but I honestly I do like it overall. There isn't a moment where I'm like, oh, this sucks, or I have issues with it. Like, no, the moment to moment gunplay for me is actually very fun, which is why I enjoy
Yes.
hours of just like I will sit through weapons and kind of try different combinations. I landed on the drum beat. All the combat tech weapons are my favorite, really. I love there's a variety of guns compared to like Fallout 4, where you kind of like, I'll stick to the one because the rest of these are kind of bogus. Or if they're playing on PC like I was, you download
Yeah.
250 Call of Duty gun mods for Fallout 4 and you just go wild. But
I had that thought to me recently. Like, I'm like, oh my god, Starfield and Cyberpunk. The moment to moment combat in both games are just
so enjoyable.
so fun, so
It's
fun.
almost difficult to like. So like, there's missions where they're like, you should approach it more diplomatically. I'm like, but the want to just pull the trigger
You just want
is
to,
so heavy,
yeah,
because I'm like, oh, there's
yeah.
so many people here I could start a really good gunfight, and it
Mhm.
would be enjoyable. So it's tough because they make they make just running a gunning really fun.
Yeah, and some of the people you talk to, especially in the Crimson Fleet stuff, when you know they're doing scandalous stuff and they're trying to bullshit you, it's like I could shoot you square in the face right now, and I want to, but I'm trying to get my persuasion skill up.
It for me, it's when you're on not Sidonia, but when you're in the Red Mile and all the guards talk crap to you the whole time. I'm like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
one of these days I'm gonna come out of this Red Mile run and y'all gonna say some real side comment to me. I'm just gonna unload
Bam.
and just call it a day. I'm like, done. I'm like, I had it. I had it. I had it.
I love it, man. It's so good. Possible game of the year. I know I do have a game of the year watch
Yeah, we do.
list that where the hell is my damn cursor at? All right. And I have Starfield on there. Now you have Baldur's Gate on there.
Hmm.
I think Baldur's Gate is that's the one that's really scaring me to take because I told you Legend of Zelda's gonna win it. That's the one that's really bothering me. Is Baldur's Gate.
I don't mean no harm, bro, but BG3 is gonna take it, right? Like
I
you have to understand, right?
I don't
And
understand because I haven't played it. But
um,
I do understand because I'm
you're
like, if
lost.
it does, I've seen the reaction of people, and I love the fact that people love. I just like the fact that people like video games because I love video games, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and the
absolutely.
reception that this game is getting, I'm just like, if it wins Game of the Year, I feel like we won because I'm like, this is
I
everybody
you know
loves this game.
exactly. I think, and you that's a really good point to bring up because you've seen the drama, and I didn't really read into it, but I
Yeah,
got the whiff of it where it's like a lot of developers are like, that game is not changing the game industry because like their unique situation. But I'm like, that's the thing though. They prove that you can still make good games in 2023,
mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, it has bugs, but they're addressing them, right? Not every patch is amazing, but they're transparent, they communicate, they're on top of it, they engage their community, and they continue to build upon an already solid product that came out day one that captured everyone, right? We didn't have to wait for day one patch to be engaged in the game, right?
Yeah,
I think I played probably a full week before I realized they were patching the game. Like I just because it didn't matter, right? Whatever bugs I faced, I was just like, okay, just
yeah. I'm
keep
just
on
gonna keep
moving.
playing.
Let's
Yeah,
just
that's
keep
good.
on
That's what's up.
moving, right?
That's what's up.
Um, and so like I really like you said, I think if it wins game of the year, we win. Like I
Yeah.
think that is I kind of like for me, like it has to win because I'm like, I need other studios to understand like these good games, good single player games still sell.
Yeah.
There's still a
True.
market for that. We don't need a ton of microtransactions. We don't need online play, even though it
Mm.
has a co-op, which is fine, right? But it's like we don't have to have all of these social aspects. I'm like, yo, man, we're gamers. We're not really trying to talk to
Not really trying to talk to.
people.
Not trying to play multiplayer, man.
Like, cause if we are, we pick up a game like Battlefield or Call of Duty or Halo,
Yeah.
right? We have games that are in that genre for that market, right? Like,
Yeah.
I will never understand turning like part of Mass Effect to multiplayer. I'm like, why?
EA.
We know
Yeah.
why,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
bro, you could have took those resources and put it into your actual other. Yeah, see, she got it
I
right
know,
there.
I know, I
It's gonna
know,
be
I know.
BG3.
Everybody's like, you got to jump in. Worst game of the year, Redfall,
I mean,
maybe. I think
there are
there's a
worse
game that's
games out
worse.
there. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. There are
Have you
worse games
played
out
Madden? No.
there. Shot fired.
Yeah.
Bro, they gonna stop giving us review copies. Keep it up.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know. And so, right on cue, Rich Porter, bam. On cue, Madden 24. Don't give Rich Porter a review copy. Just this him. Okay, just him. Just him. Just him. Okay. We did explore in Starfield. Okay. Is Cyberpunk officially amazing now? Yes. It's
Yeah,
been
I mean,
amazing for a minute, but
I,
yes.
and, I, and I was gonna say, I was like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I have to always kind of prelude to this because the part where I say something where people are like, okay, you're kind of a dick, but I'm like, listen, you understand, right? If you bought Cyberpunk on an old like gen console, that's on
Like
you.
me. Yep,
Like,
that was
I'm
on
not
me.
gonna lie, that's on you, right? Um, I just guys like, come on, like, be honest with yourselves. Like, it wasn't ever gonna play on those consoles properly. It just wasn't. Like,
It
like
and it really does prove that they did not care about the last gen consoles because this update only came out for PC and the newer consoles.
I mean, I think they generally tried to make it work for those old gen consoles, and I think at
Yeah.
some point developers knew it wasn't going to work, but they wanted to still push it probably from the higher ups, right? And there was
Hmm.
kind of a conflict of what's possible and what we want to do, right? And because it wasn't addressed properly, we got what we had at launch.
Hmm.
But I got Cyberpunk on the Series X day one, and I've always enjoyed Cyberpunk. Now I can poke
Me too.
holes in the main quest line, but not because it's bad, just because I would have written it differently. Right? That's
Hmm.
that's it, right? I just
Hmm.
wouldn't have made certain decisions. Um, but I've always thought it's amazing. But now it's just officially like, it's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
officially up there now, and
Yeah. It's an
I really
amazing
wish,
game.
yeah, I really wish it was the game we got initially, but
Hmm.
whatever, right? It's here now, and I am more than happy to play. I can't wait to dive into Phantom Liberty. Like,
And
it,
it came out today, right? Because
Today is the 26th or the
yeah.
27th. It came out technically yesterday for LA. They do like the UTC launch, so it's like
Yeah.
the 26th UTC time. So it's for us. It was like 4 p.m. yesterday, I think.
Okay, okay, got you, got you. It's yeah, the update. Let's talk about the update a little bit. They
Mhm.
changed the attributes, the points, the skill points, things like that. I like it a lot because I feel like in the old patches or just in the old base game, you had to kind of wait until about level 30 and you finally see that you finally see your build come to fruition about around that time.
Yeah.
Now you can start putting those points towards those cool abilities, and you know straight away, especially if you already played the game.
Yeah.
For me, I knew I didn't want to be a gunslinger again. I wanted to be more of a samurai kind of build, so I wanted to have a sword, swinging
Yep.
it and whatever. And immediately I could start putting skill points into things
Yeah.
like that. Um, and I knew I wanted to do like a little bit of stealth here. I wanted hacking here and there, but you start, especially the net writing stuff. You can set people on fire, and I think the anime helped with a lot of things like that. Really gave,
Yeah.
the
Definitely.
developers ideas to be like, okay, we should do that. And the update has all of that, so it's easy to upgrade. What kind of builds are you starting now? Because you said you're on your third one.
Yeah, so whenever I play a game, and my friend, if she's watching, she knows for a fact I always kind of play the in your face soldier character.
Yeah,
I call it a sheriff because I do talk myself out of situations where I deem it's necessary, right? It isn't so much like I go gun ho, it's more of like when the fights break out, your boy's ready.
yeah.
But if I can talk my way through it, okay, like that's fair, right? There's no need to be a murdering machine for no reason.
Why?
Um, this playthrough, I'm definitely just John Wick, like a black John Wick, and I am
Yeah,
like
just going in.
absolute like tuxedo, holster, all pistols, sword, right? Because the blocking bullets thing, I was like, oh, I'm doing that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I won't use it to really kill people. I'm like, I will block bullets, switch to the pistol, headshots, right?
Yep. Yep.
So it's they said stealth is viable this time around, so I am doing a primary like stealth, John Wick, like I said, mercenary type of
Hmm.
build here. And it, like you said, like without even I think I'm on level 15 right now, but yeah, you can already start beginning to see your build play out. And even though I'm ditching net running this time around,
Hmm.
um, the moment about net running gameplay is still pretty fun. Like I love the fact that like when you start getting hacked, you got the tracer bar at the bottom, and it shows you where the person's at. So it's like a beat. It's like it's a race against the clock to find this hacker. You're like because they're gonna reset your objects, set you on fire, or the worst when they give is reboot objects in the middle of a firefight. I'm just like.
Come on, bro. Come
I'm like,
on, bro.
bruh, like, come on, bruh.
Come
Or the
on, bro.
Tiger Claws, they hit you with the freaking weapon disruption every time. I'm like, oh, there goes my build, right?
Yeah.
Once I get hit with that. So, but it's really fun. But I would say for me the biggest freeing aspect they changed was that crafting is no longer unique to the technical tree because now I don't have to dump 20 points by default in the technical
Hmm.
ability just to be able to have good gear. That
Yeah.
was always
True.
the issue. Like no matter what build I did previously, it's like, well, I have to spend 20 over here just so I can actually have decent gear, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
Right.
shoot
Right.
yourself in the
Right.
foot by not doing it.
Right.
So to me, that was probably the biggest change where I was like, okay, this is perfect. So now I can play around with whatever. And I think what's really cool is you can drop and reset all your perks. I think that's super good because
Hmm.
you can then go and then find new ways to play based on what you've already set up. And then you have the one time attribute reset as well, which is really cool too. So I think them loosening the reins on the rigidness of the attributes and perks is a big change. I do kind of miss. I like that as you previously when you were you have all the cool animations open to you by default. I liked it kind of better if you didn't have assault rifle as a high skill, you didn't have
Hmm.
all the cool animations, but it's whatever. That's like a minor immersion thing that was still
Right. Right. Very
it's
minor.
fine.
You were talking about armor, things like that. They did kind of redo that also with the cyberware.
Yeah.
Now you
Yep.
you do have a cap, and as you level up, that cap goes up and things like that. Like you have a cap of how much cyberware you can do, but now
Yep.
that's linked to like your armor rating, things like that. What I do like about that is the fact that now you can kind of wear whatever, and I think that's kind of
Yes.
a cool thing about Cyberpunk. Like you're supposed to look like kind of a dickhead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, more or less than you like an edge lord,
Yeah,
basically. It's like how
yeah,
edgy
you
can
gotta
you be?
have neon shirts on and
Yeah.
whatever. And I really like that part of the game. Also, I like the fact that I don't know if you dived into the vehicle combat yet.
Not yet. I'm rolling around in on Jackie's bike. Like I said, I'm a little bit after the mission here. I just got
Yeah,
his two golden pills. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the name on air.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I got you. I got you. I like how you
Yeah,
can like equip the samurai sword on the bike. It is so
yeah,
cool.
stuff
It's
like that. Now it's just like
Oh man, it's so cool. It's just I'm riding by and I'm just like some guy just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Head comes clean off. Like
for me, yeah, it's running around being the Watson Reaper because I hate Maelstrom. Like that is the one the one gang in the game I have one gang in the game I have no sympathy for is Maelstrom. I don't
and they
care.
make themselves
They do.
pretty hateable
They do.
from the beginning. Yeah.
Like, I always decode Meredith, like, Meredith Stout's chip and be like, I'm
Mhm.
just gonna leave the freaking thing on there and just kill him anyway. I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
well, you get the pistol from Dum Dum. I killed Dum Dum. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm just gonna kill
I
him
don't
myself.
like any of them. Like, I'm going to kill them regardless. Like, I hate Maelstrom, and Brick is lucky he was strapped to a bar. Like,
I love it. Yeah, I don't like him as much either. I should have pulled the trigger on Royce, but I never do it for some reason. I'm always just I forgot what I choose to do. I think I just pay him. I forgot what I never pull the trigger on him though, because you
mm,
you you have it to his head right there.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that either. I usually because I'm usually more focused like for me when I play games, I'm objective based, right? So it's like
Mhm.
make sure I get my objective first, which was get the bot, right? So I'm like
Yeah.
until I got the bot and secured it, I wasn't going to jeopardize that, right? Because you didn't know if it was going to jeopardize it or not. But once again, the chip he pays for it, and the Militech virus kills the system and drops
Mhm.
people. I'm like, grab the bot, and I'm like, all right, now we just kill everybody. I don't care
Now
anymore.
kill everybody. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just
I like how
do it.
you look at it like I need to get my objective done first. But another way, kind of what I look at it is like both of my playthroughs through Cyberpunk, I have been a female, and I know I'm not a female. Well, I don't identify as a female, and I'm like, okay, this is the kind of person I think this female is. So I'm gonna try to pick
Mm,
what they would do.
right,
They
yeah.
don't shoot Royce for some reason, but but I just try to pick the like what I think this character would do. At some point I'll do that. I haven't done the male V yet because I just don't like his voice. I genuinely just don't
No,
like his voice.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and I tell my friends all the time, right? So when I approach games where you create your own character, I approach it from a wrestling philosophy of like the best gimmicks are exaggerated versions of yourself. So it's me
Mm,
turn up to 1,000, right? So
yeah.
when I play like Mass Effect, it's me as Commander Shepard up to 1,000, right? Cyberpunk, same thing. If I was stuck in this situation, forced to do these exact things, it's me turned up to 1,000, right? So I've never played as a female. I don't anyone who does like knock yourself out like it's not like a you know I just because I put myself into the character, I end up playing myself, so I really
Yeah.
recreate this mug in game as best I can, right? So like if they look at my Baldur's Gate character, it's me but just in the game as a big old paladin fighter. So it's like it's just me turned up to 1,000. And so when I look at it in like in real life, it's like I got to make sure that what I got paid to do, right? Like my character's thing's integrity. When you pay me to do a job, I get the job done. If you say
Hmm.
there's no rules, I'm dropping bodies though, right?
I'm
If
doing
it,
whatever.
right, I'm like I'm gonna leave bodies because usually these people are maelstrom, and I'm like I don't like them. Tiger claws, like right there, because I'm like anytime someone's like sex trafficking, I'm like you die, like that. It is point blank. Like you even dabble, I'm like you're on the hit list. Like that
Yeah.
is there
Yeah.
is no Valentina's. I'm like all right, that's fine. They're family, they just do the normal drug stuff, like whatever, fine, call it
It's
a day.
yeah, yeah.
You
I
know
like
what
how
I
you
mean?
have beef, actual beef with the gangs, because I'm
Bro,
like,
I
I'm just
really
you're
do.
all
I
his
really
enemies.
do. I think if you looked at my stats, I barely kill Valentinos. It's probably I honestly don't think I do at all. Honestly,
Hmm.
I
Unless they're
usually
like
don't.
in a crossfire type thing.
Yeah, unless
Oh,
let's the crossfire, whatever.
just
Because like
killed
I usually
Pablo by
don't.
accident.
But yeah, when it comes to Tiger Claws, and it's like once I realize they're not uniquely tied to a Kako, I'm like, okay, it's open season on you guys. Like
Right, right,
whatever. Like
right, right, right.
you've already convinced me. Um,
What about the
wh-
Mox, man?
I mean, I
They're
wish they were
just
featured
sassy as
more.
hell.
Yeah, but they're there, and I don't have any like I have no what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have any like a predisposition towards them.
Yeah,
Like I think they're
got you.
neat. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're neat. Like if there was more, um, nope, they came out today, Berdirk, or
Yeah.
today or yesterday. Yep.
I can't wait to actually play the actual expansion. It
Yeah, dude.
seems like some really cool stuff is going around. I have a question to ask you once we get through these comments.
Yeah,
Uh Massive
we'll get
Mac.
to that, Rich. We haven't got to that
Oh
yet.
yeah, well we're
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, hey, we're only 30 minutes in. Yeah, we'll definitely get
yeah, we
into
will be
all
getting
that.
to that though.
Uh, yeah, we haven't touched on it yet, and I don't know what this is for. It might be for my I don't identify as a woman thing. I think so. And I knew I was gonna forget that damn question I was gonna ask you. I knew I was gonna forget that damn question I was gonna ask you. Where were we going through? Okay. Phantom Liberty. Oh, so do you think there's gonna be a sequel to Cyberpunk?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
is it staying in Night City or is it going somewhere else? Because there's mentions in the game of like New Barcelona. There's
Mm,
mentions of like other
Barcelona.
places
Yeah.
in the game. Do you think it's gonna stay in Night City, or is it going somewhere else?
I will probably say a little of both. I think because Night City is iconic, there will probably be something about diving in there, maybe for a mission or two, or a really big part of it. But I think if they're going to come back to Cyberpunk and do more to it, we'll probably be visiting in new eras. Like I would think with this IP, right, you would want to be like kind of like Elder Scrolls, you'd begin to travel along your entire map so that players get a
Hmm.
feel for the entire world, so you can tell more stories. And then, like we've already seen with like Edge Runners, they can tie in things that happen in Night City back in 2077 with, let's say, we're in 2079 or something like that
Yeah.
over here or something like that, right? And you begin to make this interconnected world like the real world is, right? So I would probably lean more towards it'll probably be somewhere else. If it's still in Night City, we'll probably be able to go to more areas that are outside of Night City. Like we'll probably have like a mission where we're like transported to a different area to play there for a while and then come back or something like that. Um, but yeah, I would probably bet money's going to be somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, and there was as soon as you said it, I said, "Oh my god, they could do that." Is like have different eras. It doesn't have to be in 2077. It could be further in
Hmm.
the future or a little bit more in the past. Of course, we've seen
Hmm.
it in 20. I think with Johnny Silverhand, I think we saw it in 2020 or was it 2023?
23.
Yeah, 2023 when he had the attack on Arasaka.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they could totally do something like that. And I would love to see the world expanded. Of course, you have the
Yeah.
Badlands, things like that. It does expand out a little bit, like kind of how like GTA 5 does a little bit.
Hmm.
And yeah, I would love to see all that.
What is your
Cyberpunk
dream
Cyberpunk set.
Cyberpunk set?
I don't know. I wish I knew more about the lore outside of this game more to kind of give you a better idea because all I heard was New Barcelona and I was just like, okay, I guess we can check that out. Like I don't really know more about that. I know with GTA, of course, you can Vice City sounds like it could happen, so maybe do that.
Return to Vice
Uh
City would be pretty cool.
yeah, I mean Elder Scrolls is like I mean Hammerfell. Um where
Take me to
else would be it?
Almora, please. I'm trying to go to
Yeah.
Somerset Isles. Because
Oh,
I've
there.
played
There's
because I've
cities
owned all of
there.
them, so I've played. Yeah, six is supposed to take us there, which I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
But to answer Bert's question, if you mean by set, if you mean like locale or whatever, I do want to go to the NUSA. I'm really interested in how the US looks now that they don't own all of the US territory.
Hmm.
I think that's a very interesting look at the world and how it's turned out when like the actual American government is essentially a corporation now, right? Pretty much
Yeah.
hand in hand with Militech. And so I would love to see how their cities look in comparison to what Night City looks like, right? Where it's a freedom of corporations versus corporations tied to a government, how they would basically set up their world and rebuild certain areas or not rebuild certain areas. So I'm really interested to stay US bound for the time being, just so I can see what the NUSA looks like. Because
Heck
I'm
yeah.
just super curious.
Heck yeah. How old is Arasaka? My friend said W. I mean, in the game, they said when he died, he was about 150 years old.
Hmm.
It,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Something
dude,
like that. Yeah, he's
yeah.
he's old as crap, and honestly I don't know all the lore.
Sorry, y'all. I just
Um,
spoiled that, by the way.
no, it's fine. Like, cause I was gonna say something. I was like, cause if depending on what ending you've had of Cyberpunk, I mean, it's
Yeah.
old news now. You should know the endings by now. I don't know the secret one. So this one is like he like the soul. If you played the game, you have a chip in your head that has like an engram on it, right? Obviously, if you're paying attention to why you would make a chip like that, they're gonna make it so they can use it themselves, right? So
Right.
clearly, this mug has probably jumped bodies more than once, right?
Hmm.
That's how I look at it, right? So when he takes his son's body, I was like, of course you did. Like, I was like, of course. Why wouldn't you do that to the son you've disowned, who acts like he's like,
Yeah.
king of the universe? I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm more interested. I'm not gonna lie. I'm more interested how the heck Rogue stayed alive this long. Like, what did you do? Because
Hmm. Hmm.
girl
Yeah.
doesn't
She's
look a
still
day
alive.
past like 50, and I'm like, but she's definitely not 50. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I haven't
So,
thought of it that way. I guess because Rogue does play a good part. I haven't thought of it like
mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, I haven't thought of it like that.
Because
Yeah.
you realize in like 2023, they're probably what 30, 40 years old, and so that's another 40 some years later, and she literally
Hmm.
could probably still run around and do things as if she was in her
Hmm.
30s. So,
Hmm.
and she doesn't like she has as much cyber tech as like freaking Atom Smasher. So,
And hopefully, I mean, I don't think the expansion is gonna expand on any of that. Because it's more about that particular area of Pacifica, right? And it's more about trying to get the UC president out of there. So
So I do know just from the first, like I'm only level 15. I know in order to get the DLC, you have to start Judy's like I think it's called automatic love mission, where you learn more about Evelyn. So
mhm.
it definitely does start with you having tied already to the main quest stuff. So it is. I don't think it is unique to its own. Obviously, it has a new ending as well. So it definitely is going to tie into the main core game to some degree, right? If you look
Yeah,
at like
right.
the Witcher expansion packs, they did the same thing, right? They kind of gave you more without like you could play the full game without playing DLC and still have a
Mhm.
full experience, but with it you have that second full experience basically.
I think this expansion is going to be really good. I was watching a video and somebody was just kind of talking about it, talking their experience about it, and just looking at it, I was like, "Oh my god, this
Dude,
looks so good."
I saw two 10 out of 10 reviews. I was like sold. Like I mean, I was sold before, but like to actually see modern gaming media give a 10 out of 10, I was like, okay,
For an
like
expansion.
for an expansion, right? I was like, okay, this is.
Remember The Witcher? I think it was the Blood and Wine DLC, like won like RPG of the year, and it was like a whole expansion.
And it was like it's an expansion. Like, but Blood and Wine is so good though.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah.
Yeah,
I need
Blood
to
and Wine
play The
is
Witcher. I need
so
to jump
good.
into it on the current gen consoles. I still need to play that. There's a lot of games I still need to play.
Yeah.
I don't. Where'd you get that information from, my man?
By
Juan, where'd you
Arasaka,
get
I'm
that?
assuming we mean like Papa, right? The
Yeah,
main
the dude
concept.
that I'm thinking the guy that got choked out in the game, right?
Yeah, I forget his. I know you're
Is it
Nobu, but I
Saburo?
forget. Yes, there you go.
Saburo?
Yeah, Saburo.
So yeah, I'm thinking him, and I thought Jackie in the elevator was like he's 150 years old and he decides to die today. That's what he was complaining about.
Yeah, like when you're in, yeah, it's like of all days, like, and it's like basically they're talking about as being the perfect
Yeah,
storm. Now, I actually don't know if the game lore follows the tabletop RPG lore, which is what Juan may or may not be referring to. Um,
no, he's going to an IGN guide.
well,
now
can't
the
say.
tabletop lore, if you guys don't know, it is a board game, right? Like Cyberpunk, and it's old.
Yeah,
I think what is it from the 80s or something?
something like that. Like it is a product of its time in a sense of like it comes off of that era of like
Yeah.
that's what futuristic is, so it kept that same aesthetic moving forward. I don't like I said, I've never gotten a chance to play it. Um, I think
No,
it's called Cyberpunk Red or something like that. But yeah, so
mm,
I don't know all the lore and all that. I'll admit I'm one of the people who got into Cyberpunk when the game was announced. That's when I kind of
oh
picked
yeah,
up on it.
oh yeah.
So I won't pretend to be some kind of expert or anything like that.
I'll pretend for you. So let me tell you when he really died. No, no, I don't have. No, I'll watch a video on it. I'm probably gonna watch a video on it tonight because it is very. I like the lore,
Yeah.
and I love Elder Scrolls lore too. I oh my god,
Now
that is so
now,
deep.
now I can sit and talk about for a long time. That's an ugly
Oh
light
my
if you
god,
get
it's
that.
so deep, and some of it is genuinely fucked up.
Oh, absolutely. Like I think that's so when story time. Uh So like, because like, here's I have to give some pretext here because I don't want people like, oh, this guy's a full on like
Nerd.
outcasted nerd. I'm like, no, I am a nerd, but like it's by
You
choice.
are
Again,
watching a video game
it
podcast. It is okay. You're
well
in a safe
in
place.
2023, people are like, oh, it's cool to be nerdy. I'm like, some of us didn't have a choice, right? We had to go through the bullying phase of being a nerd and kept our nerddom strong. Like, don't give me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but no, like so in school, like if me and a friend of mine, like we were big into like Morrowind. Like Morrowind was my first Elder Scrolls game, and I had one of like the special edition maps, but all the writing was in Daedric, right? So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
well, I can't read that because it's a fake font. And so what we did
Fake
was
fun.
knowing knowing the names of the cities by playing the game, we took the map and then like figured out the alphabet, right? So that we could read Daedric in the game and stuff, right?
Nice.
So super nerd. Well, I learned like literally the next like year in school that there's just a website for that stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I wasted my freaking time. Um, but then that website, shout out to unofficial Elder Scrolls pages because it's an amazing website. And there's a dedicated lorist and stuff like that. Um, I would just when I got bored in class, which was very often, just read like pages of lore on Elder Scrolls and like read the books and like read the in-game books too, because I have like the collection where it's like them printed out and put into an anthology, right? And
Right.
so I would just read this stuff, and yeah, it is like from the religions to the language and like one of my instructors in college, he helped build the Dragon Tongue as well, which is it's based off of I want to say Norse, Old Norse, if I remember correctly. But just it is deeper than most people suspect, and usually they're not pulling randomly when they make these games. Like it is a full on like it's a lot of stuff. And yeah, some of
What
the
is
histories you read.
what is the source material? Is it
I
a
have
what is Elder Scrolls?
no clue. Like I know I'm pretty sure it's probably D&D related, but it is so deep that I honestly I couldn't follow the thread, and I've never
Yeah,
asked. Like
yeah.
for me, it's like it's just Elder Scrolls. And I left it at
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
But yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
I kind of wish we could play like they would make a newer game, but maybe go back to some old events we haven't gotten to play through at some point.
Mhm.
But that's just a me thinking thing.
He said Juan's still on Arasaka here. Implementing his case in his impending death.
I mean, the engram chip is what his immortality plan is, not an AI, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
by this time AIs are pretty much don't do it, except for Delamain, which that's why they make the comment. I don't know how he still gets a license because he shouldn't. But yeah, they don't really dabble in AI from what I understand. But it's the engram being on the chip, which you can plug into and it just rewrites the brain. And it looks like it works because when you get separated from Johnny in the game, V has no idea it happened, right? It still feels like you, whether it's a real you or just the engram that has a very strong connection to you, is not really specified. But I think the idea is that they are able to remake a conscience on a chip, plug into a body, kind of like altered carbon, where you just plug and play.
Right,
You
right, right. Exactly. Yeah. Man, that is a lot of nerdy shit going on in this
know?
podcast right now. We're talking about lore and everything. Everybody's like, all right, I want to learn about Microsoft leaks, which we will
Yes.
definitely talk about now because it has already been like 46 minutes of straight lore. Man, if you didn't know nothing about Cyberpunk, oh my
You know
God.
it now.
You
know
came to a sports
it.
video game channel to learn about Cyberpunk lore. Look at that. Let's talk about those leaks because it's like one came out and then I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Right,
Then it's
right.
like 3, 4, 5 came out and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So
Yeah.
apparently, um, Microsoft was they accidentally uploaded some documents that I think it was more intended for the FTC in their trial. They uploaded it to a like a county database, and it was really easy to track down and really easy to find. And I mean, a lot is being said in here. There's a new diskless Xbox Series X. A new controller enhanced with haptic feedback is set to be announced and launched. The Elder Scrolls 6 will be a Xbox / PC exclusive.
No
Um,
surprise there.
well, we'll talk about it in a minute. Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo, which we've heard before.
Yeah.
But I think that is confirmation, buddy.
Yeah.
Cloud service is going to be released at some point also. So, of course, the big gritty bit is that Elder Scrolls stuff. It seems like this game is going to come out in 2026, which I kind of could have pinpointed that.
Yeah.
Um, Xbox PC exclusive. Am I surprised? No, but I thought Phil Spencer was kind of like, we're gonna make sure it's still going on PlayStation. So I wonder what happened. I don't know if they're just tired of getting gut punched by Sony every time Spider-Man comes up, or God of War comes up, and all these other Sekiro and everything else. So they're just like, all right, we're gonna keep all the big toys away from you. Starfield and Elder Scrolls.
I mean, to be in all fairness, I feel it's weird that there are people who are going, well, that's unfair. I'm like, Sony is the king of exclusives. That's
Yeah.
primarily what they do. So I find this entire argument that has appeared online, or the fact that Sony even has a court case about not being able to have a game on their system. I'm
Mhm.
like, what? Like that is so bizarre. Like stop for a second. Like I remember when there were all those memes going around and how like people were like comparing the consoles, right? Because the
Yeah.
console was the tribalism was getting reached an all-time pitch or whatever. And
Tribalism.
I remember how dumb this post was, because it's the one time I responded to something on social media and I immediately regretted it, right? Because the post was like, it was three pictures of a dog, right? One was like Minecraft graphics, like this is what the Xbox looks like. Okay, I was like, okay. And the next one was like just I think the dog from like Final Fantasy 14, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty decent graphics. Like, this is what a PlayStation looks like. And I'm like, okay, then it's like a real dog. This is PC. And so I was like, well, the Xbox Series, I think the Xbox One X at the time had just dropped, which we all knew hardware wise was the better system.
It was the
And
strongest system, yeah.
yeah, and so I was like, you do realize that like Microsoft has the actual better console system right now. And every response was always, well, we have more games. I'm like, that's not what this graphic is
Yeah,
saying.
that's not what this post is
Like
about.
that has nothing to do with what you just said.
Yeah.
But their answer remind me of like, yeah, PlayStation's call to action is like they're exclusives. So now that I mean, if you're gonna fight with exclusives, what did you expect was gonna happen when Microsoft just makes money off of PC and they're like, well, let's just bolster Xbox and get some exclusives that are worth
Mm-hmm.
playing,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, and to be fair, the further back you go, Elder Scrolls games were not always on PlayStation to begin with in the first place. They were PC, then they came to Xbox Original. That's where I played more on first. And I think Oblivion dropped on 360, and then eventually it came to PS3,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we kind of got the other ones who came out, and they were, multi-console launches. So for it to go back, I'm like, yeah, it just makes sense to me. So I think it's a weird conversation because, like, it's so hypocritical.
Oh my god. PlayStation,
Like,
I'm learning. I don't know how I'm now learning this, but like because I have both consoles. I've had both consoles for
right,
multiple years.
exact same.
And PlayStation fans are just so delusional. They're so up their own console's ass. They're so like I just put out there, I was just like, look, let's be honest. Maybe Hi-Fi Rush wasn't nothing too much. It was a great game, it was fun. Saturday
Hmm.
morning cartoons type of game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um
That's a good way to put it, actually.
uh Starfield is the first gut punch
Hmm.
from Microsoft in a very long time. And some
Yes.
dude was like, I'm kind of exhausted of like open world games anyway. I'm like, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you think. And,
There
and
was
he's a Sony guy. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's still a game that has come out that you can't play.
like there was a review that was a 7 out of 10, and I remember the first comment made me like laugh really hard because this guy said this reviewer was just mad because he couldn't play it on PlayStation, and I died. Like I was like, that is probably so accurate.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Oh man, I'm like, no, like it's a completely phenomenal game, and I
Mm.
think I think Sony just got BG3 anyway, so I'm like, sit down, like
It's annoying.
like sit
It's
down.
so annoying. And it's like PlayStation's about to get this Spider-Man game that's going to be pretty good.
Hmm.
It's probably going to get some other exclusive down the line, and
Yep.
Xbox is finally seeing the fruits of their labor.
Yep.
They were like, we just spent all this money on Bethesda. We brought in 22 different developers.
Hmm.
We're even though some games we're still waiting for Perfect Dark and still waiting
Yeah.
for Hellblade and things like that. Like we're starting to see it, and it does suck that I don't know why I'm saying this, but it does suck that Elder Scrolls is only coming for one game because I think this is going to be one of the biggest games of the year that come out that year.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
but Xbox is just like, like I hit you in the stomach with Starfield, but I'm about to hit you square in the fucking face now
Yeah,
with this.
it's basically like you've been joking on us for a couple years. We've been
Yeah.
taking those hits because we took those L's. Honestly, like we
Mhm.
took those L's, but we about to fade that block though. Like it's like they're just
Yeah.
like what you got? What you got
I
for us?
think in the post I was like, Starfield is the gut punch, but the Elder Scrolls 6 is the tombstone pile driver. Like it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be pretty
It's
bad.
it's gonna hurt. Yeah, it absolutely is. And I'm waiting for that first review to be like, oh, it's uninspired, right? 'Cause I think I read, and I don't want to
Oh
call
my
it.
god.
I don't want to write like because literally someone said that like Starfield was an uninspired view of space, and I was like, what's an inspired view of space?
Yeah. I would like
Like
to know.
elaborate. Tell me your like what were you expecting? Because it sounds like you had expectations that weren't met because you have high expectations.
The inspired rendition of space is probably Resogun, which is I believe still a PlayStation exclusive. I'm not
Probably. So it's just like those things where I'm like, and I'm sitting there like, I just sat and what like, I was reading it, right? I was
Yeah.
sitting on my ship's bridge, looking out the window, and I'm literally watching this luscious planet, very vibrant, and I'm watching a herd of like docile animals be chased by a pack of predator animals, and I'm like, uninspired how? I just watched the cycle of life before my eyes. Like, like then I went outside and showed them who the real predator was, but that's
No,
fine.
man.
Had to get that
Hey,
XP grind going, right?
yeah, hey, gotta kill him off. And yes, Resogun is a PlayStation exclusive. So yeah,
Nice,
that
nice.
was right. That was right. Yeah, they probably think that was great. Um, the haptic feedback controller. Now, I would like Xbox to dabble in this because I do like how
Yes,
the haptic feedback works on
yes.
my PlayStation controller back over there, especially with Cyberpunk. Like, especially when you're in a car, it feels like you have a pedal on your hand. Like, how it feels, it just give you that little bit of resistance
Hmm.
back. When you're playing games like FIFA 23, because I haven't felt it on the new game.
Hmm.
Um, like when you're running and you're sprinting so much, the game kind of feels like, or the controller feels like it has like a lot of sand.
Mm.
That's the only way I can kind of
No, I kind of
describe
get
it.
it because like my most experience I have with that controller is going to be Deathloop, which
Okay, yeah.
gosh, it really does use haptic feedback. And so and it's funny, my brother's got a PS5 and he comes and he's, oh, do I love the controller much more? And like I couldn't, like I have an elite Xbox controller, like the custom one, so like it's pretty cool, but I'm like, you kind of can't beat that haptic feedback. Like
It's
it
cool.
is really good. Like it adds a huge amount to games. So when I saw that leak, I was like, say less. Like I'm buying
Mhm.
three. You don't have to convince me.
Damn, three.
I mean,
Color variation. Hell yeah.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's in case one dies, they pull off the charger, but the other one, no, no, you keep going,
There you
send it
go.
through,
Yeah.
right?
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like no, I really want like I would love, and I'm happy they're gonna try to do that if if it's all true, right? To
Mhm.
get that on controls because I think it would be um very much a huge plus for Xbox controllers. I would like the triggers to be a little bit bigger.
True.
Width wise, but that's just me. That's like I love the Xbox controller better, like more, but I do prefer the triggers on PlayStation. That is like the one thing I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, that was
And it's cool that third party like Cyberpunk are really using those
yes,
features on it
absolutely,
because it's not just God of War that's using it for the
yeah,
bow and things like that. It's cool that these other companies are like, oh, we really like we like
hmm
this kind of feature, whatever. I'm trying to find another word to use instead of feature.
feature function.
Yeah, function on the controller. So we're gonna try to implement it in our games, and I like it on Cyberpunk. I like it on other games too. Um, let's talk about the Microsoft and try to buy Nintendo thing. Um, we know Nintendo and Microsoft have flirted a lot with certain deals and certain things going on here and there. So, from what I've heard of the rumor, is that Phil Spencer went in there, sold this idea to them, and then he got laughed out of the Nintendo offices. Is that part true? That you had all these Asian guys laughing at you and you just walked out of the office, and I could see Phil Spencer physically walking out of the office. Like,
Yeah.
I tried.
It's like obviously I can't speak to it. Wasn't there.
Yeah.
Also, our banner still says it's Cyberpunk officially amazing. Might want to
Oh
swap
man.
that.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
My bad.
update that guy. Just I just noticed
Yeah.
it. We are on the Microsoft leak stuff
Microsoft
here.
leaks officially.
Yeah.
My bad, you guys. Yeah.
Um, but to your point though, I mean, the thing is like like if that really did happen, that for one sucks because whenever I see like Phil Spencer speak, especially whether it's live or at E3 or whatever the case may be, like the dude always comes off genuinely interested in games. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
that is super, super important. So I can only imagine having all these big ideas, right? Going to a very well respected gaming company and say, hey, we've got these things we think would be really great to partner up with, or just buy you guys outright. Obviously, keep your brand because you wouldn't just delete Nintendo. Like it would obviously remain Nintendo, but there's so much we could do with it. And then to be laughed at like that to me, I'd be like, all right, bro, we just gonna take your company at this point. Like, watch us, because like I mean, to be like, except for the diehard fans, right? Like, except for the diehard fans, like, because you can't really kill the Mario franchise. Like, you have to try to kill some of these
Yeah.
franchises, right? You can't really kill Mario and the Zeldas and the Smash Bros and all that, right? But you can definitely make them work at it, right? You could definitely make it difficult for them to sell and get over with um, new audiences. But like for me, when I heard about it, I was like, I kind of was like, I really want to see that because I'm in my head, I'm thinking the crossovers, right? Like you're playing Smash Bros. Melee, we'll say like Melee X or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And you've got like your Samus versus Master Chief. say less, right? I'm like, yeah, all that's awesome, right? The
That
crossovers
would be sick.
alone
Yeah, that
would
would
be
be sick.
sick. Or you're playing Halo and it's just like an arcade, like the Horde mode or whatever. You got to deal with Samus and Samus enemies or whatever. It's like, all right, like, yeah, neat, freaking say less. So I think there's a lot of missed opportunities there personally, um, but it's Nintendo.
I think those things can still happen. I think them trying to buy them outright. I think that was more for exclusivity again.
Probably,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and let's bring some of those good games
yeah,
over to Game Pass. That's what I
yeah.
think it's really for. Um, I think them buying Microsoft would have been a big buy. It would have been probably would have been harder than them trying to get Blizzard right now.
I want to say yes, but I think probably not because the only reason why it's an issue now is because Sony wants what Blizzard has, right?
Mm,
Sony, to my knowledge, was not pitching to buy Nintendo, and those games from Nintendo aren't going to Sony in the first place, right? And so they've been like, we don't have them now, don't
that's
really care.
true.
You know
I
what I
agree
mean?
with that 100%. That's true. Yeah. And
So
I mean, where we are in the whole thing, it went from Microsoft looking like they aren't going to get Blizzard to now it's almost damn near for sure now. Um, I just want like the developer, like the whole thing with like the developers and how they were treated, like the whole like culture of it needs to kind of change, and hopefully, of course, like you said, Phil Spencer. Now I love Phil Spencer. I've actually met him and seen him a couple of years back in LA. um I think over the last couple of years he has said some questionable things to the media, um coming off a little bit defeatist in terms of like exclusivities and exclusive games and developers, because I really want Microsoft to get a hold of developers so they can really honestly compete against Sony.
yeah,
Why
yeah,
Starfield is such a big thing. Starfield is such a great, like, even if and that was one thing. It's funny you talk about that 7 out of 10, because it's like I knew that was going to happen. I knew
yeah,
a type of review like that was going to
yeah.
happen because they don't want to see that from a Microsoft game, because it hasn't happened in a very long time, or an
No.
Xbox game because it hasn't happened in a very long time. Um,
And it generally bothers me because for me it's like when games win, we all win, right? But when you're like, oh, I want to make sure this gets views, so let me give it a lower score. I'm like, that sucks. Like,
mhm.
give the people who worked on this game their like due justice, right?
Yeah,
Because it is flat out an amazing game. Like, give them their freaking credit, right?
yeah.
If you have a real critique, make it mean something. Saying something like, "Oh, it's uninspired." Well, okay, well, explain to me what inspired is,
Hmm.
right? Because when I hear them talk about it, all I heard was passion. All I heard was them talk about their inspirations, going into what they're doing, developing new systems and all this stuff. So I'm like, when you say uninspired, what does that actually mean? Right? It's
Hmm.
like someone critiquing a movie, well, the directing's bad. I don't know what that means. Like, you're gonna have to explain to me, because I'm watching John Wick. I'm like, this is amazing, but you're critiquing it on the directing. What's the like? What is the issue here, right? Like,
Yeah.
let me know so I can understand. Like, these blanket statements that are vague or don't really show that you formed a genuine bad opinion, other than like, well, I didn't like it. Well, no one cares about your opinion. I want to know about the game itself. So that's like when I do my reviews, like we were talking about earlier off air, is like I can remove my bias because I
Right.
can look at a game how it's designed and be like, these are things you will find fun. These are things that detract from what the game is trying to do, right? It doesn't take an opinion to understand that. It just takes you to understand what a game is meant to do, that is be fun, and you can base it on what it's advertised to do, and then just say, does it achieve that? Yes or no? It's that simple.
True. True. Very true. Very true. I agree with this statement a lot. Nintendo is an independent woman who holds its head down, still flirting, whatever. Yeah, because you know what? I mean, Nintendo is its own beast, isn't it? Like,
It
it's not
is.
even in.
It
It's not
is.
even in the. I mean, we don't say, well, Sony's better than Nintendo. No, Nintendo does its own thing.
It is.
Nintendo
It is in its own lane, right?
it does its own thing. It
What is
does
it?
its
I
own
think
thing.
after GameCube, it dropped out of the full console war race, right?
Oh,
It just kind
totally.
of did its own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Um. Yeah.
Juan's being our guy here. Spencer says acquiring Nintendo would be a career move.
Yeah.
I bet it would have, to be able to hold that
Landmark.
down. Oh yeah.
Landmark. Absolutely
Oh my
landmark.
god. But he's doing a great job. I still think he's doing a great job than who's the other dude, Don Matrick or something.
Yeah.
Holy, to sit up there and just be like, yeah, if you want to play if you don't want to play online, you just got to play 360. It's like, oh my
It's like,
god.
bro, could you try to be less like
A
disingenuous? Like,
bit.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
and Jeff Keighley's right there. So like that's the message. That- so that's the message. If you don't want to be online, just play 360. And he's like, well, okay, when you put it like that, it's like, yo, that's what you said.
That's exactly what you said. Like you sound like a dick. Yeah, because you came off like a dick. I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
just got tired of the what the hell? So you guys don't have internet?
Like some people live in the butt f in the middle of nowhere. So yes, they don't have internet, but they want to play games. Now that's still on them. Like I'll admit, like I have to go back to where I was when it came to 2077.
Yeah.
If you can't manage, because at the end of the day, video games are a luxury, right? We just all have the luxury of talking about them and enjoying them. So, but I'm like, if you can't really dive into them, well,
It's an expensive hobby.
yeah, them's the breaks.
Yeah. Let's end off the stream by talking about like leaning into the future. I didn't write a thing for this because I kind of improvised it. Let me take off the banner. Okay. All right. Yeah, because we're not talking about Microsoft leaks. Appreciate you guys getting in the comments about the Microsoft leaks. Okay. October is a massive month. September was a massive month. This is going to be a massive month. And the best game, SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake. What it? No, I'm just playing. Okay, that was.
I was like, all right, well, I guess we're ending early then. That was quick. No slight to those developers, but
I'm not gonna do that. Holy goodness, Scorn is coming to PlayStation 5. I thought that game was like done and dusted. I don't think anybody liked that game.
probably
Okay.
should have been done and dusted. But
Yeah. No, I'm good. I mean it when I say Disgaea 7 is coming out. I dabbled in Disgaea a little bit, but God, Lee, the seventh one, they're really bringing this out. Have you ever played a Disgaea game? Do you know anything about that?
no, I can't say that I do.
Yeah, it's like a. I'm gonna say this, and I bet you I'm wrong. The combat is probably more similar to Baldur's Gate in a sense that I can't get into it.
Sounds like it.
Not because it's bad. It's just my brain can't compute that much numbers and movement and everything like that. So yeah, it's hard for me. Okay, Assassin's Creed Mirage, October 5th. How do we feel about a more streamlined Assassin's Creed, kind of bringing it back to the basics?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have faith in Ubisoft. I just their games to me all play the same, and I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people really like Ubisoft, and that's fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think if you like them, there's a reason why you like them. They do make a certain style of game. If you enjoy that, then you know what you're getting into. They turn me off very fast. I think like I loved the Division, like the first one, and like I think I played up to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, right? But at some point, it was like they have a ton of really great IPs and ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and then just choose not to capitalize on them. Like I'm playing Watch Dogs, I'm like, oh, this could be this
Oof.
really amazing game, and you're like, but you don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what are we doing here? And like Assassin's Creed, right? Amazing franchise, and then they put in elements that don't fit the idea of the world you're playing in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, Far Cry unfortunately it was doing its thing and it had that one big hit and it just never
Hmm.
it's trying to reach the heights of that again and it just can't. It's like the Chicago Bulls. It's just bad.
Cheap,
Um
cheap sports heat.
yeah. uh okay, so I'm ready for Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'll definitely play it. I've not been super excited about this particular Assassin's Creed game. I like
Mhm,
Odyssey. I
mhm.
didn't really like what was the one after that?
Uh,
Goodness, the Viking one. I know what it's called. I
that's
just
what I was gonna. I thought that was
Valhalla.
okay. Yeah, yep. I was like,
Valhalla. Yeah, I didn't like that one too much. The next one is Borderlands 3 for Switch. It's crazy they're gonna put Borderlands 3 on Switch. Do you have a
I think
Switch?
that'll be. I do have a Switch actually.
Yeah. That
That's
might
the
be
one I
kind of
don't.
fun to take it a go.
Yeah, it's what I don't play Starfield on currently.
Uh, I would love to see the Switch even try. It might explode into flames.
I'm sorry, I meant Stardew, not Starfield. Is that what I
Oh,
said? I
Stardew
said
Valley. I
that's
was
what
gonna
I
yes.
don't. That's what I don't play Stardew on. I'm sorry.
The Switch couldn't even think about playing Starfield.
I mean,
Um,
it plays Skyrim to be fair. Detective Pikachu Returns. Oh, hey,
and
there you
that's the
go.
next game I was gonna talk about. Detective Pikachu Returns. For you guys that do like to take it, I don't like the other Pokemon games. Unfortunately, I just like the Pokemon games.
I stopped after a Crystal version. No, I played. I think
Damn, Kevin, the
I
crystal version of the what? The one that came
listen,
out in like when I
listen
was
here.
like 11. Like,
Hey, man, there's like there was a when I was playing a Pokemon game and the Pokemon that looks like a sword couldn't learn cut. I said logic has died, and that for me, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I couldn't. Like my head was like, no, dude, what? It's a sword. It
but
literally is made to do that move. And I was like, okay,
he wasn't a grass type. That
I
was
don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Like when a fire type can learn Earth Punch, but that sword can't cut, I was like, you know what? I don't understand.
And when you said Earth Punch, I don't know why in my head that made sense. It just made sense that a fire type can do it. That's how these games got me. That's how they got me.
No, Pokemon are always classic, like whether you
Yeah,
play them or not. Like, ooh, Alan Wake 2, that's a good one too.
yeah,
Um,
spooky
I'm
season.
looking forward to the tie-ins with Control and the rest of that universe as it begins to unfold as
You
well.
did you like
Uh,
Control?
I did. I like games that make you think like that and play
Mm,
on like old mythology and lore. So when your sword is Excalibur and Excalibur is something that's timeless, I thought, or your sword, your
yeah.
gun, I found all that super freaking interesting. Um,
Uh, I I don't say this a lot about games. I don't know why. I know I like Control. It's like a Magneto game on crack. Um, it's it's I just didn't like. I don't know. I actually don't like Control. I don't know why I say I like it, but I just couldn't play it. And when I'm playing it, I'm like, this game
so
isn't fun to me.
I'll put it
Um,
this way, because I got let me kind of correct that a little bit. When I say like controls, because I don't dislike it, right?
yeah.
I've never
Okay.
finished the
Yeah.
game. I haven't
Yeah.
finished it, right? And I bought it a long time ago, and it's because there is it is while it's super interesting and it's captivating, I think it was 1000% better as a TV series.
I could see that.
It would just work, but playing it, not so much,
Yeah.
not so much.
And you know what? What you said right there is like I don't I don't hate the game. It's just not I don't know. It's not for
Yeah,
me. Not
yeah,
this game. Like
yeah.
it's the story, it's all super convoluted. It's like I play Kingdom Hearts. Like I'm tired of shit like this. Like she goes into like and I'm gonna be wrong about the story. She goes into the Better Business Bureau or some
Mhm.
shit, and it turns into this alternate reality. Like it's like I thought this game was like gonna be about some chick trying to find her husband or something. I don't know. I didn't know what it was gonna be about. Like it just was not exactly what I thought. It's not a bad game by any sense. I can
Yeah,
see
I think
people
it's
liking it.
like it's one of those things where, like if you're it's like they took Men in Black instead of aliens, they said no mythology in the world, and
Mythology.
it does this thing. So like I was able to follow the story because I like complex stories that make you think. So that for
Cool,
me
cool.
that keeps me engaged. So like if you're
Yeah.
one of those people, it like I said, it has a lot to offer. But for me, I would much rather just sit and watch this
Mhm.
play out. Um, because like I said, all becomes really interesting. But playing through it, I was like, if I get stuck on a puzzle, I'm like, I really don't want to deal with this one. I
Yeah.
just want to keep progressing the storyline.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um Next couple of games, these two we're going to be busy here on the Sports Gamers Online doing. It's NHL 24 and Forza Horizon. Oh God, Forza Motorsport, not Horizon. I love the Horizon
Motorsport,
series, by the way.
they're
I love it.
Forza. I don't think they ever really fail when it comes to their games.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
it would
yeah.
it would take a significant. Like they'd have to try.
This one looks stunning, by the way. Beautiful. Just
As
some
if
of the
the
car
rest don't.
models. True, true,
Show me an ugly
true.
Forza game, and I would show you a lie real fast.
True.
Like
That is the biggest compliment we probably could give him here. Is like it's never bad, but this one just I don't know, man. They're doing like dirt accumulation, and it just gets you all riled up and stuff.
it's like I've always like and things I'm not super into racing games outside of like the basic Need for Speed Most Wanted, right?
Mm.
Or
Oh,
Underground 2,
classics.
really.
Yeah,
But
classics.
it's like they make you excited to play a Forza game. And I
Mhm.
think you can't really beat that. And I've always put Forza as like the I don't say litmus test, but like they're always uh the Order 1886 was a tech demo. game for the PlayStation 4, basically, right?
Hmm.
Whenever a Forza game comes out, it is basically that for Xbox, but they just say, we already know how the Xbox work, and we're just going to show you why it's a good system to have with
Yeah,
our
true.
amazing game, right?
It
And
shows
that's
it off.
why
Shows off the power.
it
Yeah,
really does. And so
yeah.
there's never a bad thing to say about them.
Totally. Hopefully I get to review that one. I'll hit up Curtis for that. Um, NHL 24, they got, I feel like all the EA games, they're all kind of doing the same thing. They're kind of doing this thing where it's like, we're going to change all the main core mechanics, like in UFC, like how they have the
Yeah.
damage system. Now we're going to change
Yeah.
all the core mechanics. We're going to have a cool little name with them and things like that. What I'm really excited with this game is the World of Shell or whatever. It seems like they're
Mm.
kind of doing this pro clubs thing that they do on EAFC. So I want to see how that progresses with this game.
I am I am a big fan of when gameplay changes come when they do so with the intent of authenticity, right? So
Hmm.
the best example I have is if you go back when THQ was still in charge of WWE, they came out with W13, which is bigger, better, better. No, W12, that was that one. And the idea was it overhauled how the game played and they focused on TV presentation, right? And
I
so
remember that.
everything,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That was a big year for that game. And
Yeah.
so everything was basically about how to make this feel like in-ring action, right? And so all the controls were geared towards that. With NHL 24, I was watching some of the videos. We had a couple of press releases that came out, but there was the point where they're talking about the fatigue as you're in the box and you're and I forget the terminology because I'm not a hockey guy,
Hmm.
but when you're closer to the goal and how the intensity is simulated by having the characters become more fatigued in order to kind of mitigate that you have to get the puck away from the goal essentially, right? And all that to me was super interesting. I was like super into it, and I love contextual animations. Like for me, that's one of my favorite things. Like when you hit someone based on their location, where they're at, your speed, and all that stuff, and it makes animation based off of those factors. I'm always all for it. So I am exactly like I'm on board with those kinds of changes. Now, if it actually like not because I'm not an avid NHL player,
Hmm.
it seems new to me. But for them, it could be like, bro, what? So I don't know.
Right. Right. Right.
So I
Right.
don't know.
Right. It's funny how it sounds to somebody on the outside when you're like, "Oh, that all sounds." I have it all the time when people like when EA does their deep dives on FIFA
Hmm.
or EAFC. Now, I'm like, "Yeah, but they've been doing that.
Mm.
They've been doing that. Oh, new ball physics. Oh, they do that all the time. They talk about ball physics all the time. And the ball physics. Oh my god, I had a game yesterday. The ball is spinning this way, going towards my man, and it bounced and went that way. I was like, what type of ball physics is that?
Excuse
Like,
me.
what the hell is
Someone
that?
said ball physics. I said bullcrap. Like I don't
Yeah,
know what
that's
that is.
it is. It is. It's called scripting. FIFA, fucking fix it. Like Jesus. uh, I'm gonna have to just mention this game. We get emails about it all the time. Wild card football. Um,
Ah, yes, that's true. Yeah,
yeah, this is more an arcade style football game. It has what's Playboy's name?
you got me, my
I
guy.
forgot his name on the cover. They have him on the cover, things like that. Yeah. Don't I'm not too crazy about this game, as you could tell. I just wanted to talk about it. But one game I am excited for that's coming out October 13th is Batman Arkham Trilogy, but it's for the Switch.
If I played my Switch enough, I'd be excited. I
I
mean,
think that's kind of cool that it's coming out for the Switch.
yeah,
You get all three games, comes out for the
exactly.
Switch. I like it. I like
I was
it.
gonna say, I mean,
Yeah.
anytime a game comes on the Switch and is actually playable, I think that's a big win. I
Yeah.
just do, right? Again, like I said, when games win, I feel like we all win, and I'm never against that. Do I enjoy exclusives? Absolutely. But if another console gets it, I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
people get to play. Like dope.
The in the Switch just seems like it's getting more cooler games. You got Red Dead on there now. You're getting the Arkham trilogy, which I have not played all the Arkham games all the way through,
Hmm.
by the way. So this is it's another chance for me. Lords of the Fallen. Somebody said that in the comments here. Lords of the Fallen, and this is the first game that's gonna really utilize UE5. What's your take on that?
Mm.
Because I have never played the original Lords of the Fallen. I've seen demos of Unreal 5, but this is going to be the first big test of that engine.
I mean, a lot of games like so when I was in college, right, we actually had copies of I think UE started with UE3, got to UE4, and
True,
the
yeah.
things you can do in there are always pretty. I mean, when it's a universal tool like that, it's always a good thing to be able to have and
Hmm.
play. And I'm excited for it. I haven't played one before, but I look at these games and I always kind of like, I may jump into that one day. That's how I got into BG3, right? It's like I didn't play Baldur's Gate or Divinity Original Sin. Like I have them, I just never played them
Hmm.
because I mean. medieval fantasy games, open world take forever to play. Like I'm just that guy. It takes forever to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I see these games and I go, I want them to do well, right? The more games we get like that, the more people will begin to experiment and see what kind of games are possible. So I'm all for it, and I hope it does well. Because if it does, I'm going to pick it up at some point
Mm-hmm.
and give it a run. Obviously, someone mentioned Lies of P earlier. That same thing, right? You see them and I go, oh, I want this to do well, and I want it to be smooth. I want it to be really good, so that when I play it, I can just give it praise, right? Because again, the more we praise these games that are unique, they're their own theme, idea, whatever, the more we can get stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, like annual franchises are lifeblood for game industries, absolutely. But man, let's keep getting these games that are like one-offs or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are just freaking fun, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely love to
Yeah.
see it. So
True. Very true. Yes, sir. October 17th. I am very excited for this game. I keep talking about it all the time. Sonic Superstars. That is genuine. I
no,
loved
I get
Sonic
it.
Mania. Loved Sonic Mania. I like Sonic Frontiers. It was like a Legend of Zelda Sonic game. Sad piano music while you're running around with whoever. I forgot, like you're running around with some ghost character, whatever. Um, yeah, I like the game. I like that game a little bit. This is like that 2.5D Sonic game. They
Yeah.
haven't been great in the past, but they're trying to kind of mitigate that, make it feel better. Um, this looks fun. Looks like you can do like co-op things like that. They have loads of characters. They kind of redid a lot of the older stages, things like that. It just looks
Mhm.
really fun. I'll probably do like a first impressions on it. Looks great.
Nice.
Jumping over to October 20th, because I jumped over a whole bunch of games. I'm like, I don't even know half of those games. October 20th, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Do you have a PlayStation?
Oh, I have all consoles, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I think you said that earlier. Yeah. Spider-Man 2. So Miles Morales and Peter Parker together fighting people.
I can't. I think I was actually just watching the scene where I think it's Spider-Man. Is it?
Venom's in it.
I was watching the newest movie where it's like all three of them. It's like the live action one. I'm trying. I don't think it was
Oh, the
Homecoming.
Spideyverse.
Was it Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Was it that? Was it the name of the live action one though? Because it was like
Live
the
action.
live
Oh,
action
I
one,
think
yeah.
the recent I don't
Because they
Tom
had.
Holland's not my favorite Spider-Man, so I'm kind of
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. Well, I was watching them, like, where Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield and Tobey
yeah.
Maguire. Then there's the scene where they're like talking about their villains that they've all fought, and
Yeah.
it's like I can't get over the fact that you fought an alien in space, like that's. And I was watching that scene, and I'm like, that's my hope for the game, right? Is
Yeah,
that
okay.
that's
Okay.
the rapport, that is the feeling you get, right? It's because
Mm,
Spider-Man, yes, like if you watch, I remember watching like the old Saturday morning cartoon Spider-Man's, right? Peter Parker goes through a lot, right?
mhm.
That is an understatement, right? But what you also see, like it's really cool when he meets other people who go through that same type of hell as Spider-Man, they create an easy rapport with each other and they're able to go back to what it'd be like if they didn't have that gigantic layer of burden on their shoulders, right?
Mhm.
And so I hope the game, because I know mechanically it's going to be sound, period, right? I can't think of a bad Spider-Man game dating all the way back to like the freaking Dreamcast, dude. Like
Yeah.
they're solid games every time they come out. I mean, for the PSP, same thing. They're based off the movie, but you're like, it's a
It's
Spider-Man
still a
game.
good game, and
They're just
Insomniac just
they're
blew out the water with the first one. It's so fun.
exactly.
So fun.
I remember my buddy. He was super excited to be able to like actually work on a couple of the outfits. Right? He was just
Oh,
freaking.
that's cool.
Yeah, he's huge Spider-Man fan. So I was just clapping
And
when I
and
heard
they're
he got it.
free. They're free in the game. They're collectible and they're free. It's like, and why am I so excited? Because it should be something. It should be a practice that's
I mean,
normal.
that's the truth, and that's what was it? I think Idris Elba said it best for Cyberpunk. He's like, "This is not a DLC; it's an expansion, and when we do DLC, they're free." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good way to look at it."
Yeah, yeah.
And I think about that. It's like it's nice when games that make games for gamers do
Mm-hmm.
well, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's why even if I don't play them, I'm like, please come out, please do well, get great reviews, and then be popular. And Spider-Man always knocks out of the park. Like Insomniac,
Right.
they go and they do their thing, and it's like good on you guys. Keep
Yeah.
doing it. So absolutely waiting to see it come out and just do well.
I can't wait for it. The same. Oh my god, this comes out the same day. Super Mario Brothers Wonder comes out the same day, so Mario can turn into an elephant.
Not a Mario guy. I just
Oh my god, me either.
one of those things that I'm like, I get it, but he's a plumber. I'm like, I don't.
It's
He's a
just
plumber. He's like a plumber
this
on
game's
shrooms.
better.
Yeah. I mean, that's like it's like that's the problem. I don't want to say it's like I don't want to say anything, but I'm like, guy, he's a plumber on shrooms. Like,
And he's running around.
yeah, I'm like, I get it, but I also don't get
I'll get.
it.
I'll probably get friends, and we'll probably play it together. And somebody's Yoshi, and I'm Mario, or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I
But
mean, like I
yeah,
said, they make great party games, hands
I
down.
do.
We'll never take that away from them. But like, if I'm single playing, I'm not playing Mario, hardly ever.
It's I don't know. Mario Party, the game Mario Party is bad to me because it teaches people you will get rewarded if you're crap. So I'm kind of done with Mario Party.
In my head, when I think party games, I think of Mario Smash Brothers.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's
yeah,
what I
that
hit.
game, yeah, of course,
Until you get
of
that one
course.
person who's like, everyone pick random people. I'm like, no, I'm going to kill you with Samus or Captain Falcon, and you're going to have to take it if you're bad at this game.
I like how those are your two mains. That's a good mains.
Oh yeah.
Somebody talked about Alan Wake 2. Didn't play
Mhm.
the first one, but this one looks like I'm not gonna play it either. So good on y'all.
I love that setup. I mean, I like I said, I'm open with what I do and don't play because it's like I'm not gonna play everything, right? Like genuinely, like I'm not in school anymore, like not like in grade school anymore, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't have that kind of time to
it
play
is what it is.
all of these games. So I'm always going to be focused on what I truly enjoy to play, right? And
Mhm.
unless we're doing it for work or whatever. So it's always going to be my Starfields, my Elder Scrolls, my 2077s, whatever.
Right, things like
Um,
that.
Ghost Runner 2 does look beautiful, and I didn't get into the first one,
That
but
looks cool. Yeah.
but yeah, it absolutely does. Um, but
Where
so
did this
yeah,
comment come from? When we were talking about
bro,
NFL
came out
2K,
2K was the good. All right, I mean,
Mario Kart 9 any
nine.
day. Not if you keep buying 8 and keep.
I mean, like, shoot, it's 2023 and they're still selling copies of Skyrim. Stop buying the game if you want them to make something different.
Yeah, Skyrim's out for everything. The next game, EA Sports UFC 5. We'll probably get a little review out for that. Like I said, the damage system. It's cool that these games don't come out every year. It's
Hmm.
cool that they come out every so often.
Yeah.
This one looks like, from what we've heard of certain leaks, the online career mode sounds fun. You can kind of, it's all created
Mhm.
fighters. Everybody can jump in and try to get
Hmm.
the championship, things like that. And yeah, seems really, really fun. I don't know if you've had any time with any of the UFC games at
I
all.
have, and to me, like, whenever someone says online career mode, where everyone, like, every player across the world makes the universe and the community, right? Like, on
Mhm.
paper, those are really great ideas,
Yeah,
right? In
true.
practice, they're complete crap every single time. Why? Because online gamers, 9 times out of 10, are complete ass.
Yeah.
Like, one way to either they're too good, right? Or they're exploitative. Like that
Yeah.
is all you get. Like that's the part that like hurts for me, right? It's like because as a designer, that is a fantastic idea, right? It's like instead of doing predetermined fighters or real people, like no, our created character is going to make up the roster for our UFC, right? And you fight other players, and that's an amazing idea, right? Everyone's
Mhm.
involved, so if you don't play enough, you're not practicing, you're not winning, right? That makes
Mhm.
perfect sense. That makes great sense, right? But then that for people who have lives, we can't play that often, and we can't do those things,
And
right?
then you have people
So
using like making like YouTube videos on like how to do a one punch knockout every time, and it's like, oh my god,
exactly,
dude.
and so everyone's exploiting the biggest meta, and like online gaming
True.
isn't about fun, like on a react like a real basis, right? It's very rarely about fun. It's just about winning,
Hmm.
right? So those ideas always fall flat to me, right?
True.
Like it's
True.
so I on paper, like I said, I would love for it to work the way they think it's going to. It's not going to. It's just it's why I don't play Elder Scrolls Online. I'm like, listen, you think this is a great idea, but the moment you jump in that game and you see that one dickhead ring across the table, knocking stuff over, like immersion's gone.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
I've tried ESO multiple times, and I'm just like, this is just not for me.
it reminds me too much that I'm playing a game. Like that's the one thing that always bothers me. It's
Got you.
like when I mod Skyrim or Fallout, like I always have the UI mods where it disappears eventually because it's just my screen. I don't need to see most of the stuff that's on there until it's necessary, right?
Yeah.
With like ESO and stuff like that's like, oh, daily rewards, login rewards, and
Oh,
community event. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to freaking murder someone as a Brotherhood assassin, and you're telling me about this idiot who's I don't need all of that. Like,
yeah.
stop reminding me I'm playing a game. The whole point was to play Elder
It's
Scrolls,
immersion.
right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Right.
got
You
you.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Um, and then going into the end, I didn't know Resident Evil Village was coming out on iOS. Holy hell, what the hell? There's a game called Jasant that comes out. I don't know if you heard of this game. that comes out on October 31st. It's like I don't know how to explain this game. It's like a climbing adventure game that's like using different systems. It looks really, it's cell shaded graphics. It looks really cute.
Hmm.
If you've never heard of it, go ahead and look it up. Maybe it might do well. Single player game. It might do well, might not. Comes out on Halloween, so you might be doing all your little scandalous festivities, but get an
He said
honest game
scandalous
while you're doing
activities.
that.
Now I'm surprised though Mortal Kombat didn't make this session though, because that came out recently.
Yeah, but that was this month.
Was this? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I did October. All those games came out in October, are coming out in October. And there's a lot of them. Like I didn't cover, like I didn't say Just Dance 24. I don't care about Just
I
Dance.
mean, I don't think anyone really cares about you.
City Skylines 2. I'm like,
I'd rather play Civ, but not that the games are bad. I just
yeah, true. Like exactly. You can play Civilization, you know, those kind of games. Those games are really good. So yeah, man, that's been SGO 360. That's been an hour and 30 minutes on the dot. Like talking
nice.
about beautiful video games, which we fucking love to do. My name is Curtis from what am I on right now? Sports Gamers Online. I've just did a video for my other channel. Okay, cut me some slack. Sports Gamers Online. I'm a senior editor here on Sports Gamers Online. Curtis Callie from the Dojo is my Twitter, and the Soul Dojo is my personal channel. What I do with a couple friends. If you want to go check that out. And Kevin, go ahead and plug yourself in.
Yeah, I'm Kevin. I'm the God. I forget my title every time.
Managing editor.
I'm just saying managing editor at SGO's website. You can hit me up on Instagram. Instagram. It's X, Twitter, whatever they call that one with the blue that the one dude took over and now renamed.
And now it's
At
black.
Kevin, right? It's at Kevin Mike Finley. You can find me on Instagram if you want. It's kevin.m.finley, but I don't do SEO stuff. That is all pictures of the statues I buy that you can't see. Well, you can see in the corner there a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I just log basically me buying limited edition statues. So feel free to hit me up if you like statues. I've got anime, I've got superheroes, I've got.
Oh, are they for sale?
No, they're just my collection.
Oh.
No. I do keep all the box. Like they could be resold if I ever need to, but no, I buy them with the intent on holding
Keeping them collectibles.
Yeah.
I got
some.
you.
So I think there's like 500 of these like Omni tools from Mass Effect ever made, and I've got one of them. So stuff like that, I end up picking up.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I like hobbies like that. Those are so cool. Make sure you guys subscribe to Sports Gamers Online. Make sure you guys check out the website. We're getting some stuff up right now. Brandon literally just hit me up and told me he's getting onto that F1 email. Like, okay, I'll make dinner and I will literally edit that. Okay.
we got you, Brandon. We got you.
We got you, dog. Yeah.
I'm gonna play Cyberpunk after this.
Man. And I know I'm getting on EAFC after this. All right, you guys, take it easy. We'll check you guys later. All right. Peace.